If you've ever tried to do your own SEO, then you know there's more to it than meets the eye. There are different categories, there are different keywords that you need to vet out based on your ideal client, based on the service you provide, based on XYZ, where are you located even. So we're going to dive in a little deeper today. We're going to unveil some of the hidden meanings behind that and also look into some of the more dynamic ways that you can integrate SEO into a more authentic and fun approach to your marketing. And that's why we have Prerak here today. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself, why this topic matters to him, and why it should matter to you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Shauna, for having me on your show. I was really looking forward to it because we had scheduled this for a very long time ago. And finally, we are here and I'm so excited to be on your show. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, we believe in divine timing over here. I mean, I know we've been stumbling forward, but always connected, and I think that's so important. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I actually started my digital marketing agency where we focus on organic content creation about a year ago. And so far, the journey has been going pretty good, where we help different businesses scale online and get more leads for actually free of cost, because you're not going to pay for any ads to run your campaigns, even if you decide to you know put any active efforts in your marketing campaigns. Unlike paid traffic, where you rely on Google ads or Facebook ads, where you keep paying for those ads to show up on your potential clients or customers feed or their display feed. In SEO, which is search engine optimization, you essentially create content on your website and it actually ranks up on the Google search results, and you get clients that way. So I pretty overwhelmed by the journey so far, and journey of my entire marketing agency has been going pretty good. I've been documenting on my YouTube as well, and you have been a subscriber of it now, so you know how good it's been going.
I love that. And what I think is really interesting about the way you've taken your journey is that you are always staying open minded and ready to grow and learn and adapt to the ever changing world of marketing. And it was interesting because before we started recording this wonderful conversation, you mentioned something to me about not just SEO, but SEM, which is a
Yeah,
really
that's right.
interesting approach that I think might help our audience open their minds a little bit about what it means to actually use keywords and search engine optimization to grow their business and get more eyes on their business. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So when people talk about search engine marketing, there are essentially two types of marketing campaigns that you can run to show up your listings or your landing page on the search results of Google, because Google is essentially the number one search engine in the internet, right? So you either rely on paid ads through Google PPC ad campaign, which is basically you pay for each and every click, or else you rely on organic traffic, which is through SEO. And when we target, or if we rely on either of these marketing campaigns, we essentially have to form a list of different keywords, which is really the foundational step for you to get started with this campaign. But what most people miss out on, or most business owner mistake, is that they actually uh, stuff keywords into the landing pages and in their web pages, which makes their content really low quality and in the eyes of Google as spam. So you
Mm-hmm.
don't want that to happen. Keyword is just an idea for you to understand this is the intent behind what the user was searching. So if I were to, maybe let's just say, hire a plumber in New York City, I'm not gonna search for plumbers NYC. I might just search for something like hire plumbers for this particular job, let's say fixing faucets in New York City, and followed by my exact location. That way I would know that this is where I'm looking to get the job done. But what
Right.
most people miss out on is that they would you know buy a subscription of SEMrush or Ahrefs, and then they would do keyword research, form a list of different keywords, and for each and every one of those keywords they would create a dedicated landing page. Now, while this strategy is partially, I would say, true, but not exactly how most business owners do everything by themselves. So you don't want that to happen. You essentially want to understand the intent behind that keyword, whether that intent is being informational, whether the user is just looking for the answer to the question, or they are looking to compare your products or services with your competitors, or they are already looking to buy your products or services. So we have
Right.
four different categories of information, sorry, I should say intents behind your searches. The first that I talked about was informational. Then we have commercial, where we compare, and you have the opportunity to list out your USPs and stand out from the crowd. And then you have the transactional based search intents, where you specify your case studies, you show your exact process, maybe you can even list your prices and how they can contact you. And then you have the navigational, where people are essentially looking for your brand. So let's say I'm looking to buy a pillow, and that's an ergonomic, a memory foam pillow that I'm looking for my bed. So I might just type for that particular product followed by Amazon, because now I know I want to buy from Amazon because I just trust Amazon. So Amazon is a brand. Now, although the product might have its own brand, but where exactly I'm looking to purchase is the actual navigation where I'm, searching for. So these are the
Right.
four intents behind each and every keyword when we talk about the keywords phases or doing the keyword research phase to run either of the marketing campaign when we talk about SEM, which is search engine marketing basically.
I love all of that. And what's really cool about that is that it's all grounded in your brand and understanding very intensely your buyer's journey, your customer's journey. Because if you don't understand that, and you're not going to hit, you're not going to, your keywords are going to mean nothing, because you're not going to be able to
Exactly.
use them in a way that makes sense to not only you but to your prospects. If
Exactly.
they are coming into your world and they're just exploring something, they're not really in the buying space, and you slam them with some heavy buying calls to action, they're out. You've just lost somebody. And this is what
You're
I
so
like,
right.
right? And this is where, when you do an audit or something to that
Hmm.
effect, and I know that you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. We're looking for clogs and gaps in that journey, because the clog will, of course, be where you're over nurturing. When you haven't presented them with the opportunity to move forward in their buyer's journey, even though they're ready. And now you kind of get friend zoned. The gaps is what I just explained to you. When you oversell too soon or something, to that, they just fall out. It's a gap. And so this is what you're talking about, is with this idea of looking at search engine marketing as a whole, with SEO and keywords being a subsection of that, understanding your ideal client, their journey, etc. Now, there's even more to that though, right? So if you're doing it yourself, this can feel really heavy. And we want to move into a direction where it's not, it's tactical practical because it makes sense, but maybe we're not going to dive into the specifics as heavily, especially not with ads, because a lot of the people who are joining us today, they're not necessarily at the point where ads make sense, so they are
Mm.
focused on organic. We talked briefly about the dynamic self. Can you tell me a little bit more about that aspect of things and how you pull SEO and SEM into that space?
Just so I got your question correctly, dynamics of exactly
Yeah,
your voice just current.
that's all right. Yes, yes. The dynamics, the dynamic self, I believe, is what we were talking about, with regards to uh, how you're showing up and how you're leveraging your brand in your marketing.
Right, that's right. I got it. So what essentially you are trying to ask is that how a brand should position themselves in the eyes of their potential customers and clients. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yeah. Especially when it comes to utilizing keywords and SEO in a way that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're throwing something else on the to-do list. You know that people
Yeah.
don't want that. So how can we integrate that?
Yeah, so I mean, this is so important for each and every business to understand that, to not always be like, hire us, we'll do this, we are going to sell you this, but instead first try and position your product or service in a place. Sometimes there are a few products or services where there is no market, so you have to essentially create a market. And when there is actually a market, there must be a leading I would say brand. And if you want to beat that, or maybe even beat that monopoly, or come to a level where there's a bipoly, you essentially have to stand out. So that's exactly why you need to create content, and you need to be in the eyes of your potential customers or clients, because not everyone would like to buy. First, they would love to do everything by themselves. So you have to create content, and then inside your content, list out. So there are a bunch of different content pieces that you can actually create. There is listicles, where you just, with the help of bulleted list format, you answer the question of your searcher. So just like how we discussed earlier about the plumber that I was looking for, let's say I want to try and fix this leaking tap all by myself with the tools that I have at my home. So I might just be looking for a solution that can, help me get the job done in about 10 minutes. So I might just search for how to fix this tap in about 10 minutes. So that's what I'm searching for. If the result pops up on my feed, and click in that URL, and I find the bunch of different steps, like step one do this, step two do this, with the images, infographics in place, I'm like, wow, pretty good, I could do it by myself. But maybe later on, let's say I have a problem with my heater, if I have a problem with my water boiler, if I have problem with let's just say I have a problem with my air conditioner, I might not be the best fit for that case. In that situation, I might just think, okay, this is the link that I probably clicked about a few days ago. Or even if that's not the case, I don't have that sharp memory, if I am to search for another keyword, where Google also, unlike any other search engine, would favor only those web pages and websites which offers content and produces content which is helping the searcher's intent, and not just trying to be spammy and be salesy so much. So you don't
Right.
want to come across as someone who is knocking on door to door just trying to sell you anything. So you have to be strategic in that way, and be and position yourself in a way that you stand out from the crowd. And you want to interlink your different content pieces, which eventually leads down to your actual landing page, your service page, where there are clear call to actions. It could be to fill up the contact form, or to schedule a call, or to book an appointment over Zoom. So it really depends from business to business, but all in all, you have to create content, interlink between different relevant content pieces, and then funnel it down to your service page.
And making sure that all of those contents pieces, regardless of whether you're on social media, on your website, etc., are consistent, are on brand, and are strategically created with search engine marketing and search engine optimization keywords. Not keyword plugging, remember everyone, not keyword
Yeah.
plugging, but strategic implementation of them, all in alignment, so that it's so that when people do search for something in your bucket, it's going to be
Mhm.
directed to you, and then you're going to have a system through which to nurture them, to make sure that you're effectively meeting them where they are, regardless of where they are on their client journey, so that they convert and you can help them. That's why we're here.
Exactly. And that is the beauty of search engine marketing, because when actually you can repurpose the written based content into video format, into infographic format, into carousel post format. So it's all about repurposing. I know so many people, get crazy about it, and, business owners get themselves wired up in this situation where they don't exactly know where they should lay their eggs in which particular basket and all. And it's just basic thing that, as Warren Buffett says, that never lay all your eggs in one basket. So similarly, you essentially don't want to just fixate it down into just one particular strategy. You want to repurpose your content across different channels, because at the end of the day, the content can be the same, you can just repurpose it to different formats. I've seen so many different social media influencers just pulling out different reels from the past about a year or two, and just strictly posting that same exact thing with the same caption, with the same thing, with no editing whatsoever. So it doesn't really matter, no one remembers. You just have to be in the eyes of your potential customers and clients. So this is what is the beauty of search engine marketing. And as you previously stated that, for all brands, paid ads might not be the best fit. I think it's not much about for the best fit, but it's more about the budget that they've allocated for the marketing campaign. if you have a good budget and if you want the results, you have to figure out what are your goals, either if it's short term or long term. If you have long term goals, definitely organic content should be your go to option, because it's going to be cheaper in the long run. And at the same time, those leads that you're actually pulling in are going to be free of cost. Like, it's not going to be, the CPL is going to be, the cost per leads is going to be so low compared to your paid ads. But at the same time, paid ads has its own benefit, because you're going to see results right away. You use Facebook ads, you use Google PPC ads, so that way you pull in the initial traction. And then you, at the same time, you can have your systems and procedures in place that helps you drive your organic content at the same time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then they work in tandem. And this is the thing, right? We want some integrative marketing approach that allows us to do the tactical, practical, while also leaning into the thing, into our own reality, right? Like what makes sense based on our own reality and what makes sense for us as an authentic human. And speaking of channels and authenticity, your channel has been growing, and that's your YouTube channel. And you've taken a unique approach to that too, by integrating both your, of course, your knowledge of SEO, but then also sharing with the world your authentic journey. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because I've got a feeling there are a lot of people who are going to want to hop on board and see what the hell you're up to.
Sure. So I just started my YouTube channel back in May 2024, and the entire purpose and intention behind creating this channel was to document my journey on how I'm setting up and scaling my marketing agency. And while most of the people might think that, why would you want to do that? Wouldn't you share all the secret tips and things that you would essentially apply for your business and deliver to your clients? And my simple thinking was that, see, the business that I'm entering in is not something revolutionary. It's not some intellectual property based. It's something which has been done for a very long time, even before I was born. So if I were to stand out from the crowd, I have to be authentic. I have to drive the brand authority. And what would be the best way to be like a personal brand? Because people connect with people, not with brands owners. And that's what I'm doing with my channel. It helps me drive leads for my business, and at the same time, I'm driving a community of people who want to start their own marketing agency. It doesn't matter if they want to start their web design agency or an SEO agency or a marketing agent, social media marketing agency. But what this allows them to understand is that, without making mistake first, they are learning from my mistakes. And at the same time, I always say this: to make a mistake is never a mistake, but to repeat the same mistake is the biggest mistake. So it's always better to learn from someone else than to apply all by yourself. And at the same time, it allows me to monetize both way. The content that I'm creating on my channel allows me to drive in leads for my business, get brand deals, which helps me promote the products and SaaS tools, which are very much aligned with my niche and what I deliver to my clients. And at the same time, the people who are not going to be my leads for my business can actually purchase my Udemy courses, so that they have lifetime access to the learnings. They can ask me questions, and they can stay connected with me.
And what else do we want as business owners? We're not just, I mean, the people who in this space, everyone who's joining us for this conversation, I know you're not just in it for the bottom dollar. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. But we're here to make an impact. We're here to start a movement.
That's right.
What better way than to really document your journey, leverage the tactical, practical strategies that make sense for you in your current circumstance, and grow a community around you. Because remember, if you grow a community, you've got a lot of people in your back pocket. Those people are going to endorse you. They're going to refer to you. They're going to prove trust to you, which is going to impact other people. If other people come over here, they go over to your website or to your YouTube channel, and they're like, oh, wow, 1,000 people are following. 1,000 people have endorsed you. That's saying something. That's
That's
amazing.
right.
And first of all, kudos for growing that in the year. Second of
Thank
all,
you.
smart. If you guys are looking for something smart, we need to continue this conversation. Absolutely. Because it's going places, and so will you when you ask the questions. So for before we go forward, because we do only have a certain amount of time to talk, I know there's something that will push this over the edge, and it's hidden inside of your brain. And I need you to share with the world, what is that thing? What is that thing, after talking about SEO, after talking about really, building in public. I know you were saying that Gary Vee is one of your influencers, right? Somebody who has influenced you. And understanding, brand development, client journey. There's so many different things we've touched on. What is the one thing, though, that the people who have joined us today for this conversation can take away and really make strong movements towards their most practical results for their business? What is that one thing? I'm going to give you a moment to think about it because, like I say, we've talked about a lot of things. And in the meantime, I want to remind everybody who's joined us today that this conversation doesn't happen in a bubble, that you are a part of it, and that we want you to join, ask the questions, share your 2 cents. If you think that I'm full of baloney, tell me. I love it. I absolutely love it. Don't tell him because he's my buddy. I'm going to be like, no, listen. But me, tell me if you think I'm full of baloney, and we will have a conversation. And I believe genuinely that all of us can learn from one another. So please join us for the conversation because these types of conversations happen every week. Subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what you think. With that, I'm going to turn the mic over, and we are going to hear what that cherry on top is. What can we do to really take all of this information and put it into action to make results that matter?
Don't think, just do. I mean, most people make this mistake of getting stuck in this learning loop. And I would say you'll never get out of it if you don't take any action. So just do it, whether it's if you're a business owner thinking about whether this marketing strategy is going to make sense and drive results and a positive ROI for a business or not. Just take the action. You're a business owner. You have to take risks. So make that gamble. It's much better than going into a casino and betting all your money in a roulette. And if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, what's stopping you from setting up your agency? Just register your business, make your first website, do make your first cold call, send out your first cold email, and at the same time, don't stop learning. So you essentially want to learn while you earn. So that's my biggest advice. And at the same time, any business owners who's looking to learn how to make use of SEO and drive their SEO campaign by themselves, they can check out this QR that is right in front of your screens. You'll get an access to my SOP guide, which will get you hands-on 23-page document step by step on how to set up your Google My Business profile, how to create the most optimized homepage, your service page in a way that you drive leads to your for your business. And if you are interested in exploring my courses, you can check me out on Udemy. My SEO course is bestseller right now. And if you want us to run your campaign on your behalf, you can reach out to me on my website and schedule an appointment with me. If it's not something we could help you with, I would also love to guide you in another direction if we find that this sort of SEO marketing might not be the best fit.
I love that. And you know what? That actually really shows the power of the community you've built. Because even if it's something that you can't quite help with, it's not quite in your wheelhouse, you have that community to refer to. There's power in numbers when it comes to this sort of movement. And with that, I also wanted to remind people, I'm just going to put up here some words of wisdom on the ticker here. Don't think, just do. Never stop learning. Learn while you earn. These are amazing mottos to live by. I urge you to really reflect on them and ask yourself, where have you started to stumble? Where have you started to get trapped in the I need to learn this, and when I learn this, then I'll do that? No, 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 no. Messy action. Learn while you earn. Let's go. Let's make it happen. I am on board with this. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Thank you for joining us here today. We are going to make things happen just by being connected. Good luck with your SEO, because I know you're going to dive into that step-by-step handbook. Remember that the link is in the show notes as well. We will chat soon. See you later.